I absolutely love listening to him. He's like the godfather of DeFi. I mean, one of them anyway. He's just such a visionary. And we need people like this who are advocating for this space, building for this space to make it more equitable, more accessible, more fair, more transparent. Basically what this space is all about. So he is one of the most important people, one of the most important voices in this industry, and we're honored to have him here at Proof of Talk today, where all the most relevant conversations in crypto are happening right now. So I hope you guys have been enjoying that as we're gearing up for the next panel, another powerhouse panel. We got a lunch break soon, so we've got about 2 more panels left, and then we're going to take a short lunch break. But so as we're getting ready for the next panel, I just invite you to sit back, relax, and kind of think about the future of this space and what that looks like for you as we paint the picture of what crypto adoption is going to look like. And like I said before, maybe Tim Draper has this version of the Steve Jobsian moment where we click and everything's just easy. Or, you know, the UX, UI, there's lots of talk of that. There's lots of talk of ZK rollups and ZK proofs. So much innovation happening, but one of the most important takeaways from most of the conferences that I've done this year is how do we make it seamless? The people who are coming in to, the people that we want to come into this space, they don't need to know necessarily how the technology is built or what's under the hood. They just want it to work, kind of like your Uber app or the everyday technology that makes your life better. And that's what this space is about. It's about elevating society, uplifting global citizens, and democratizing global citizens. And so on that note, I'd like to announce the next panel, Drivers for Crypto Adoption. We've got Beniamin, founder and CEO of Multiverse X, Robby Young, CEO of Animoca Brands, and Meow, founder of Jupiter Exchange, moderated by Katie Romero-Finger, CEO and founder of Babs. Please give them a big round of applause.
Hey, everyone. Nice to see everyone here. I think let's start with some intros. So I'm Katie Romero, as Megan said, founder and CEO of Babs. We are a B2B, B2C user acquisition Web3 agency. We play almost exclusively in DeFi. And yeah, let's start with some intros. I know most of you guys, but maybe the audience doesn't. Go ahead.
Beniamin Mincu, co-founder and CEO of Multiverse X. Probably one of the most advanced layer ones in the blockchain space. We'll probably share about that some more, but great to be here and have this conversation.
Hi, I'm Robby Young, CEO of Animoca Brands, and we make games, and we're very active investors as well in Web3.
Hey guys, I'm Meow. and and then from Jupiter, and yeah, we are the largest DEX aggregator in crypto. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thanks for being here, guys. OK, so we're supposed to be talking about crypto adoption. I thought we could start the conversation a little bit talking about what's happening in 2024. So everyone says that we're in a bull market. And I want to ask your opinion. One is, are we? What does a bull market look like? And then third, is a bull market better or worse for crypto adoption? Who wants to start?
I mean, I'll just offer a thought on that. I do think that all these cycles are essentially just the price innovation cycle repeated over and over again. And you usually start with, if you remember Bitcoin, there's this very funny initial video that was viral on YouTube where the guy was essentially saying, whatever you do, don't invest in Bitcoin. Why? Because it went from 5 cents to 10 cents, and then it dropped to 7 cents, and then it went to $1 and dropped to 50 cents, and so on, until he basically says it went to $10,000 and then dropped to $5,000 and so forth. So it turns out that people would like a very straight line where you just do something and then everybody gets it, and that's adoption.
Right.
This never happens. So right now, I do think people are having fun. It's almost like a revolt rage against use cases and so forth with just memes. Nobody cares about anything. DEXs are having some fun with memes. I do think value is there. We're in the best position possible when it comes to fundamentals. And it's just going to flip at one point from just memes and having fun to also this use cases that integrate the flow and help the liquidity flywheel be taken to the next level. And I think institutionals with ETFs are almost on the opposite side. So you have everybody playing around, not caring about anything, and then institutionally, people finally coming in really big time as we have these conversations.
Robby, what do you think?
So I think, obviously this year has so far been fantastic in my estimation. I guess especially when you compare it to last year, which was a little bit more slow. I think that we have a tendency to look at very small windows of time because our industry changes so quickly. We're always thinking about, when we say, oh, how are things now? We mean like literally today, in the last 4 hours, how are things, right? Whereas if you zoom out a little bit, obviously price action has been fantastic. The price of Bitcoin, which is the metric that underlines kind of the macroeconomic climate for our industry, we're up 160%, in the last 12 months. And all I see on Twitter are people complaining about the price of Bitcoin, right? And at the same time, we have $60 billion in the US that have come into ETFs, primarily through, BlackRock and Fidelity and some of the big fund managers who are bringing their clients, their retail and institutional clients into crypto, which is fantastic. And we have success stories like, we have a portfolio company called Pixels, which is a very popular game right now in Web3 with 4 million active players. And yes, that's very small compared to a mobile game, which has poor monetization. But don't forget that in something like Pixels, it's 100% paying users, and they spend a lot of money. So it's a different kind of a product, and it's extremely successful. So I think we have a lot to be really happy about in the market right now.
Yeah.
I think for us, we are more like market agnostic. We think that bull markets are fantastic, right? Because they bring on the bars, the excitement, everything, right? But if you think about it, right, like bear markets are amazing because they weed out everyone else, right? Like, I think if you look at the last bear market, I think all the worst players were gone, right? And here's the thing: if the worst players are in the game, you cannot bring on the mainstream because the mainstream just go on to bad players, right?
Yeah.
So you really need that, how to say, the cleansing cycle. A forest fire comes in, the weed goes out, and new plants can grow, right? So that's how I think about it. So I think for us, I think Jupiter, I think we try to make the best of everything, right? If it's a bull market, okay, let's go, capture the energy, and let's grow, right? And bear market we build, So I think being able to kind of harness that build, build grow cycle is actually very, very important, So I think for us, we don't care, right? We don't care whether it's bull or bear, right? We just try to see, okay, what's happening now, right? And how do we best cater to that, right? And to that point earlier, right? I think what we're seeing right now is interesting, right? Because we're kind of sideways right now in terms of the macro market, but so much stuff happening. Crazy stuff, right? Meme coins, celebrity coins, infrastructure, stable coins, RWAs, all these are happening, right? And at some point, the critical mass builds, So I think right now, I would say that we are in a phase whereby I think there's still a bit of uncertainty and a bit of scarring, from the last cycle, right? But I think, but in terms of the actual foundations being built, it's fucking amazing, right? I don't know, I don't make predictions of a price or anything like that, but I think at some point, very, very soon, probably I think within the next half a year or year, I think we're going to see this massive explosion, right, of adoption, of use cases and everything.
Yeah. But I think, so then my question becomes for you guys, all as builders, what's better for you guys? Is it the bear or the bull? Because on top of that, in terms of what's coming in terms of crypto adoption, our topic, is more liquidity coming in from, so are those, is that institutional money or are more users coming? So what are we at, like right now, we're in this bull market, right? So what are we seeing more of? More money coming in, liquidity, and is that coming from institutions or is that coming from actual users? So my question kind of is like, what's better? A bear market where we're maybe getting true users or a bull where more liquidity is coming?
I think you want all of it, honestly.
Okay, so you have to make a choice.
Well, no, because I think in a bear market, obviously, you make do with what you have,
Right.
So you need to focus on certain things. You focus a lot more on like honing and polishing your product, frankly, because there's not a market window for you to be able to launch your product.
Right.
So you need to wait. Whereas now that the market windows are open and tokens can launch easily to support products that need ecosystem tokens, then they can go into a different phase of the product cycle.
Right.
So we had a lot of projects, for example, that had to sit out last year because the model of how they were launching their products depended upon launching a token. Not necessarily for receiving money coming in, but just because a token is what is the ecosystem, operating device of the product. And so they had to wait. And then all of those tokens are now able to come out into the market and operate. So that's actually not just a price issue. A lot of people associate that with being, oh, they want to go and raise money in the market. It's actually just, it's a part of how they function. And so they need to be able to do that. So I would always prefer the bull over the bear, but they both have their purposes, frankly.
Okay. Meow.
Who cares? Who cares?
As long as you get the spread,
As
right?
long
I
as
mean,
you're
like, who
making
cares? Like,
money.
seriously, I feel like, okay, honestly, guys, this is controversial, but I don't care, right? I think there's this big fucking deal made out of like institutional money, retail money, everything. I don't care, right? I think end of the day, I think it's actually very simple, right? It's like, okay, how do we build because I think what we are seeing right now is that we are seeing this breakdown in. I think, okay, honestly, in crypto, right? Let's get honest here, right?
Right.
We are creating new capital, okay? Like whether you're talking about institutions coming in or like users like pumping a new meme coin, it's all like new capital being formed, right? So I think for us, and at some point, I think so the big question becomes like, how do we build stuff that is like as compelling, right? Like there's a full range of stuff, right? From safety, from like more meme, from more degen, more high APYs, right? So I think what we are seeing now is that we're seeing this full range of metrics, right? High APY, low APY, high safety, low safety, high centralized. We're seeing that this huge range of. So for me, I think we think of it a lot more as a spectrum, right? You have this entire spectrum of products and stuff that are like financial products essentially, right? Right? That cater to different like sets of people, right? And for example, now think about it, right? Now, it's a safe product, appealing to institutions or retail, probably both. Right, so I think the much better mental model for me, I think, is less about where the money is coming from. I mean, come on, a dollar comes to dollar, right? But more like how do we kind of like how do we as an industry, right, build a full range of very compelling products, right, including meme coins, by the way, right, for participants, that's how I think about it, So for me, I don't think that way.
Yeah.
What I would say is most of the people, for 99% of the people, it's exactly the opposite story of what he's saying. Because for builders, you have this back-end view, like, we don't fucking care. We just want to make things happen, make the best product possible. You have a time window, and then you hope that people notice, understand, start playing, and then things take off. Whereas most of the time, people don't really care at all about anything other than making money. Like, the only question in their mind is, am I making money in the last, not 4 hours, but 4 minutes? Like, I'm TikTok scrolling. Is this meme making me money? I don't want to learn anything else. And this is a very interesting and tricky space to play with, especially if you're trying to build something longer term. Unless you're plugging into the narratives and playing with them and exploring and experimenting, it's very, very hard to make sense of the world, especially when things, I believe, have not really picked up to kind of crazy excitement, euphoria, liquidity, and so forth. It's just that because of a kind of hedonic treadmill, you get used really fast to whatever profits you're making. You're betting them on meme coins. You're rage sort of revolting against anything that's being built beside meme coins. You're into GameStop and all of that. And then next thing you know, something explodes in this market, because I think everything we've seen this year has been narratives trying to get distilled and find market fit. Whenever a narrative fits with the general population, an explosion happens, and this generally bewilders you. At first, you cannot believe that this stupid thing that you've seen for years and years and years is now exploding, and you've seen it, and there's nothing there, apparently, but then it explodes. And then all of a sudden, people are either rejecting this, no, there's nothing there, I don't want to see this, take it away, or they are trying to make sense of things and say, why are meme coins, for instance, exploding everywhere in the world? What's the population telling us right now? And trying to make sense of that, creating meme coins, is everything a meme coin? Is Tesla a meme coin, a meme stock? Are all the other things
memes, bro? Everything a memes. Like everything's a meme, right?
100%.
America is a meme.
played into your
right?
marriage.
I mean, I think the whole thing is this, right? I think I had this like, I feel like, we come like I think a lot of people come from fundamental analysis, right? Or like profit PE ratios and everything, right? But then if you come down to it, it's all a meme, right? And I think that like utility is part of it, right? Okay, so we used to think that utility forms a value, right? But the truth is that utility is part of the story for the meme. Right? So utility, so I think that's actually the main thing to understand. Everything's a meme, right? Yeah, I think the world is starting to see that. Everything's a meme. And kind of like, how do you construct the attention economy, right, for your own thing, for your meme? How do you construct the whole like attention ecosystem to support your meme, right? And that's what crypto is, that's what everything is,
I think a great explanation that I heard recently for this is to think about meme coins as an extension of UGC, because ultimately they're user-generated content. And so if you think about Solana as YouTube and meme coins as videos, if you think back 10 or 15 years, we thought that the domain of making videos was something only for professionals. But then all of a sudden, when we had this explosion of bandwidth, we were able to upload videos, and any idiot could make terrible content and upload it to the internet.
Right.
And a meme coin is no different. It's UGC. So if you think about every meme coin, those 20,000 new tokens being minted on Solana every day, it's no different than people uploading videos to YouTube.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I gotta say this. Let's think about it. UGC, right? Meme coins? UGM. User-generated money. Right? That's what it is, right? So meme coins are user-generated
You love
money.
acronyms.
What's that?
You love acronyms.
I love acronyms, right? So guys, first, you heard it here first, right? UGM, right? User-generated money, right?
Yeah.
I know, but seriously, I think it is, right? I love meme coins because I think I have this theory of like money is energy, right? So it's like, I think anyone can make money, right? The powerful thing about crypto is that anyone create their own money, right?
Yeah.
But it's not free, right? You can't print money. You can only create money, right? So it's like, I think so meme coins are a bunch of people coming together and say, let's create a new money, right? And obviously those that manage to sustain and create that energy over the long run, they win, right?
Well, what's the trick then? Because we're all trying to figure that out. How come some of them maintain and some don't?
Attention.
No, but I think it definitely boils down to memes, the most shareable and entertaining memes.
Yeah.
And then just seeing those as kind of prediction markets to ideas or just ways of attracting other people in communities where things distill really quickly. It starts with a joke, then it gets some traction, then people search the idea that's underlying as this root cause. But the larger the communities are and the simpler the mimetic sort of substance of this idea, I think they generally explode in a way that you could not foretell almost before.
So actually, sorry, just real quick here is that I think besides attention and memes, right? Like for example, do you know how many Trump meme coins there are? Like there are literally thousands of Trump meme coins, right? Thousands of Ted meme coins. I mean, you have thousands of like anything, right? Anything, any idea today is already rapidly being represented, by a meme coin, right? So I feel like the interesting thing is community. Right. So besides so what communities underlines that meme coin? Do they hold the token through up and down? Right? Do they support the token through up and down? Right? Do they create the memes through up and down? I think that's actually one thing that's important. Yeah. To add on to his point.
Yeah.
No, but and maybe to reframe this, there's an arms race of people representing ideas in the form of liquidity, tokens, and then making some money of them as this idea spread around the world. It almost seems like every idea will become this liquid form in some sense. People are having fun, they're doing this. it may sound silly, but at the end of the day, this seems like a much more effective way of scaling communities around some ideas than just sitting around and waiting for people to discover you.
Yeah.
It sounds an awful lot like people defending why they like to play a video game.
Always comes back to gaming.
Well, it's gamification and entertainment, right? Because a lot of people are now investing, I use that loosely, in meme coins because it's fun and it's entertaining and they enjoy it and they're using disposable income that they have, which in that case makes it no different than casual free-to-play gaming.
Gaming, yeah. So are memes a good way to bring in new crypto users? That's the question.
I want to just hop on to what you're saying because I think it's a really important point. Like, okay, what is crypto, right? Crypto is like the most effective way of liquidating capital, like liquid capital, right? Global, anyone can participate, no restrictions, nothing, right?
Tokenizing.
So tokenizing, right? Yeah. Capital, right? If you think about it that way, right? So meme coins are just like the most effective way, right, of like tokenizing ideas. By far, there's nothing like that, right? The best community, the most relevant idea wins. You know, like GME, like there's a token called GME on Solana, right? GME. It has nothing to do with the game stock, nothing, right? But so it's a good way to think about GME, the coin, right? Is that it is a representation of how much like ideas there is, you know, in the idea of GME, but importantly though, right? How much faith is there in the token holding of the GME token? Right? Because for example, if everyone in the GME community thinks that the holders of GME can dump on them, then the whole thing won't fly. Right?
Yeah.
So it's a combination of the idea, the community, the meta, you know, almost, yeah.
So maybe one thing to take away for the people is if they discovered a really cool idea that they believe has a wide community that's not been tokenized yet, that's an awesome meme to just start as we speak.
For example?
Like any type of idea, any meme that you've seen, the jokes on politics.
Yeah.
Biden, Trump, whatever, all these jokes explode precisely because there's a super wide community. There's a joke to be made there. There's a community that wants to bet that this idea would scale. And then this is how it starts. Where does it end? There's an entire discussion. Can you scale? Like Musk would tell you that you could essentially scale a joke into a currency. This is what he's
trying to do.
Joking around with Dodge and all of that. And I do think that we're on the point where we have this serious way of analyzing, adding metrics, making sense of the world, and this very joke-like way where you're not essentially trying to create a model, although there are some very important intuitions there.
Yeah.
You're just taking them and seeing what sticks with as you kind of iterate with the community.
But if like the ultimate goal is to bring on new users, new people into this ecosystem, is this a way to do it? If at some level it is quite an inside joke. If you were to talk about to non-crypto people about meme coins, how would we sell it to them as a good actual investment?
So what I think happens here is there are two stories to the conversation. There's the, let's say, researcher, analyst, serious conversation, and the very pragmatic conversation.
Yeah.
When you look at it, people are coming in hordes and only buying meme coins, almost not buying anything else. Why is that? Well, they want to play around. This is how they learn. It's a very low cost to learn. They usually don't put their houses into it.
Right.
And then after they learn a bit, it's much easier to make sense of what sticks, what doesn't, what's valuable, what's interesting, and so forth. So it has definitely accelerated user growth. It has definitely accelerated the liquidity flywheel. And then it's much simpler for them to understand the larger memes, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's e-gold, whether it's Ethereum, and so forth, just because they had this very simple, quick way of jumping in, making sense of some things, and then moving forward.
I think also it's important to think about it as the financialization of gaming as opposed to gaming investment, because the purpose of meme coins is not to make an investment. The purpose is to have fun with the byproduct that there may be a financial return on it, because that's the dopamine hit. You know,
Yeah.
if you have fun and you get a return on it, you're like, oh
There
look,
she
I was
is.
smart.
How's it
You know,
going?
I had
How
a smart
are you?
idea.
Good. How
and
are you
so
doing?
it's part of
Great.
that
You look phenomenal.
concept that actually it's a new product category and you can't
Oh,
shoehorn it into the
couple of notes.
traditional
You got
product
Exactly.
category.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We
Where
have-
were you headed to?
We have someone else talking with us today on the panel, I hear.
The-
What do you think, Meow?
Yeah. And so, wait, where are you based then?
Is someone
Okay.
behind us?
Oh, where in Florida?
I don't know, something's happening.
Is it kind of a racket
It's a
joke out
meme.
there right now?
It's a
I
meme.
guess so. I don't know. It's hard to
fine.
talk. Yeah. But
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say.
can someone do something about that?
Oh, is there someone's behind
Is
the
someone
thing talking?
doing something? Okay, cool. Sorry. Yeah, I think, but back to the point earlier, right? I think about meme
Oh,
coins
really?
and retail.
Wow.
Guys, I think okay. So I do
Oh
Jupiter,
my
right?
goodness.
We touch everything. We touch stable coins. We touch the most serious coins. We touch DeFi coins. We touch everything, right? And it's amazing when you show someone
Man,
a
that's
new
that's
user, right?
impressive to show
A new
that.
user,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, hopefully you get to
I was
enjoy
showing someone
a
yesterday
little
and
bit.
stuff. I was showing them. I was showing them so. I was showing them Jupe.
Wow.
I was showing them dog with hat, right?
Yeah.
Guess what they reacted to? So Solana, Jupe, or dog with hat?
You know,
Of course, dog with hat.
One thing I
Right?
like
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's so cute. What the fuck is this? Right? It's like I think there's something like very like resonating about meme coins, right? That you don't have to sell them anything, right? Okay, for Solana, you have to explain them to them. Okay, it's a high performance blockchain that does CPS, does proof of history, everything.
That is.
For Jupiter, you have to okay, Jupiter is the largest DEX aggregator, blah blah blah. We are the most used exchange, blah blah. blah. It's kind of a lot, right?
Yeah.
I think meme. Oh, dog hat, cute, done. Let's go, right? And I like what he's saying earlier, right? Is that I think meme coins could actually end up being the gateway drug.
So,
For crypto.
For crypto. I feel like that's actually something that I'm coming to terms with, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like, as I think we went through a different, think about it, right, guys? We started with the chain, right? With the chain, like Bitcoin, right? The value chain, right? And then we had a computing chain, right?
Yeah.
And then we had DeFi, right? And now it's stages, right? Is one more important than the other? No, it's not, right? But we are building the infra, right? Without DeFi, there's no meme coins. I'm telling you, right? None, zero, right? Now, so I think what we are at the stage now is saying, hey, how do we kind of like, so I think what we're seeing now is that it's not that meme coins are the key to everything, no.
Right.
But we have, over the last like 10 years or whatever, we have built out this like, incredible foundation, right? Of like infrastructure to support these tokenized ideas, and turns out that, like these ideas are easy for people to understand.
Understand, yeah.
So easy, right? And then I think that's the gateway, Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's the narrative. Like the easiest way to get people in is is where people will sign up, right? You don't have to overcomplicate the product to the point that people
Sorry,
don't
I
get
jump
it.
here real quick. Just to be extremely clear here, I don't think narrative is everything. I don't think so. I think infrastructure, I think ethics, I think community, I think all these have mattered a lot,
Yeah.
right? I think what we are seeing now is that we're seeing the build up, right? I think the infra is there, the infra is there, the systems are there, the credibility is there. When they trade on Jupiter, they know that they're trading on a platform that they can trust.
Yeah.
That's crucial, by the way. If we don't have trusted infrastructure, right, you can't have meme coins. You know what I'm saying?
So like 2 years ago, meme coins probably wouldn't have been what they are today because we didn't have what we have built at that point.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
Or even let go 4 years ago, whatever, right? So I feel, and also for example, right, say, and Dogecoin, for example, right? Dogecoin depended on centralized exchanges, right, to list it. That wouldn't have taken off. That's not possible, right?
Right.
So, so I think what we are seeing now is that we are seeing this. So I think to be very clear, and I have to emphasize this, it's not that meme coins are the end game. It's not, right?
No.
Meme coins are the gateway, right? Meme coins are possible because of the infrastructure you built up, right? And ideally, and think about it, to trade meme coins, you need SOL, you need USDC, you need Jupe, you need everything,
Yeah.
right? So that's how we think about it, yeah.
A very good way of maybe framing this is most of the things at first are rejected by the general population or community because they're not in this Overton window. You don't perceive them as legitimate, as useful, and so forth, but it's very much about perception. When you can hijack the conversation and immediately jump into something and test it, you short circuit the process.
Right.
You immediately remove all objections, make it simple, easy, super inexpensive for people to test this out, and then they cannot still reason through that normal process. Then they say, well, if this is the case, then perhaps there's a much larger ecosystem here. Perhaps there's use cases in stable coins, use cases in tokenization of real-world assets, a necessity for infrastructure that really scales globally and all of that. But it's only that you can value these points after you remove the initial objections. If you just stand up and say, no, I don't think this will work, and so forth, it's one thing. Once you've made some money, you're thinking completely different. You're in that space, you want it in, and then you're reasoning almost, so what could make this larger, more interesting, accelerate faster? And I think we're in this phase where it's building up, and then critical mass just explodes things and brings them in attention. But you could not have a better situation than governments being almost close to an arms race, even in politics, like presidents saying, I'm going to be the crypto president. That's both crazy and just changes the game. Then regulation coming in, then all these infrastructure projects and so forth, and use cases coming in. It's not a straight line, but it definitely is a kind of completely new asset class and industry emerging, and there's absolutely no debating into that.
And sorry.
I was going to say, I think we've seen the same thing actually with GameFi and the game industry, because while adoption has continued, to be extremely high in Asian markets specifically, and in Latin America, in Europe and in North America, it's been a lot slower because there is a cultural kind of apprehension about things that are perceived to be overly financialized. And because capitalism doesn't have a great rap right now, because people are feeling broke. There's income inequality, and people are not feeling happy, and they're blaming capitalism, erroneously, in my opinion. But it's because it's cultural, whereas in lots of markets around the world, people are like, oh, I can play this game, and I can have fun, and I might even make money while I'm doing it. I'm all in. Where do I sign up?
Sorry, I just have to. I want to say that a huge foundation for all these things is Solana, right? I think Solana has done. Austin is here. Hello, Austin. But I think, hey, hello, how's it going? But I think we cannot neglect how important having a fast, easy to transact, easy to create blockchain is, right? Now, to create a meme coin on other networks, it costs you hundreds of dollars, right? But then, and also to get a critical mass of users to come in here to be able to transact and buy and swap, and just easily.
By the way, we should get you to try Multiverse X.
Okay. We'll get that.
Other blockchains are available.
No, but I think maybe, I'm a multi-chain maxi, okay? There's going to be a lot more change, right? But at this point in time, no, seriously, guys, I'm multi-chain maxi, okay? But guys, at this point in time, let's give our flowers to Solana. Okay,
it is
you
true.
cannot
if you're
talk
doing,
about the current meme coin thing without understanding that, okay, it's not possible if not for the fundamental underlying blockchain. All the fucking shit they went through to get the network secure enough, right? All the DeFi builders that built through the winter. Solana $8, man. That was a rough thing, right? And finally, everything. You just cannot have this meme coin conversation without talking about that. I think it's very important. Yeah, that's it.
Well, we're out of time, but I don't think you can have the conversation about crypto without talking about speed and easy way to transact.
Precisely.
And it is true.
And critical mass.
Yes.
Critical mass of people on a single network, right?
Exactly. It is true. Solana, we do a lot with Solana projects. Is very easy to, so I will support that opinion. But we're out of time. They're yelling at us to stop. Thank you guys for this wonderful conversation. So I guess the end comment is meme coins are here to stay, and maybe you have some advice for some good meme coins to ape into, Meow?
Oh, fucking kidding me? No, zero, no answer. Have fun, guys, have fun.
No financial advice here.
No, but seriously, guys, have fun. Go understand the community, ape some stuff, make some stuff, lose some stuff, win some stuff, have fun. Have fun.
Multiverse X, Animoca Brands, thank you very much, guys.
Thank
you.
Thank you.